Dedicated to the victims of Uttarakhand and Chomoli earthquakes.
Disaster Mitigation and Management Center, Government of Uttarakhand presents Towards a Safer Life. Do you live in Uttarakhand state? Do you know that it is earthquake prone?
If you live in Uttarakhand, then this video will show you ways to ensure the safety of your family and you. A large area of Uttarakhand is hilly. Here, villages are situated along the mountain slopes. Flat areas are difficult to find. Hence, terraces are made to build houses on and to farm.
Some villages are along steep slopes and some are along the ridges. Most houses are two-storied. Their walls are made of stone and roofs are made of slate. They have 4, 6 or 8 rooms. All houses have large storage bins to store grain. Walls are made from the locally available stone which are flat. Walls are 1.5 foot thick. Stones are placed in mud mortar. They are used along with lots of small chips.
The roofs are sloping and made of locally available timber. The high roof keeps the house interiors warm in winter. Large pieces of slate found in the area are laid on the timber planks. Slate can withstand the impact of hail. It effectively keeps out the rainwater and the winter cold.
Many houses also have concrete slab roof on ground floor extension. The slab provides additional flat area which is very useful in the hills. Many houses have beautiful doors leading to staircase. The front wall and the doors are nicely decorated. A stone ledge runs along the front wall at the first floor level in all houses supported on stone or timber brackets.
It is often used as an access to upper floor rooms. Every house has an open yard in front. This open space is used for various domestic chores.
In the plains area of Uttarakhand, people build houses with bricks or mud. Here, roof is made from clay tiles or thatch with wooden understructure. All houses have large open courtyards in front.
In and around the town places, one finds two-storied brick houses with reinforced concrete roofs or clay tiles.
Why did these houses get damaged in the earthquake of March 99?
The materials such as stone and mud were not responsible for this.
But it was the way these houses were built because of which they could not resist the shock of earthquake.
The thick stone walls often did not have through stones to bind the inner face with the outer face.
So often, the inner or the outer face of stone wall collapsed. This type of damage was also found in the houses having reinforced concrete roofs. Sometimes, parts of the walls collapsed, leaving large holes in the walls. The gable walls suffered much damage. This was caused by the roof pushing the wall.
The corners developed wide cracks in most houses on account of poor wall-to-wall connection.
Since all walls were not built together,
large diagonal cracks developed at the doors and the window openings in the walls. These cracks were caused by the tension in the walls due to the shaking by the earthquake.
Large diagonal cracks were also caused at the corners, even in houses with RCC slab. This is due to poor connection between the slab and the walls. Rotten timber broke under effect of earthquake shock, causing the roof to collapse. Often, the collapse of the end wall resulted into collapse of roof. In case of the light tin roof also, the breaking of rotten timber or the collapse of one or more walls resulted into the roof collapse. Even the RCC slabs collapsed due to the collapse of one or more walls.
The damage in this building indicates that the masons did not have a proper knowledge of reinforced concrete construction technique.
What type of houses were the people in Latur area in Maharashtra making before the 1993 earthquake?
The Latur region is flat. Houses touch each other for protection from the hot summer sun. The roofs are flat since it rains very little.
Stone is the most common building material in this area. Village streets are flanked by tall stone walls on both sides. 2 to 3 feet thick walls are built from locally available stone and mud. This keeps the house cool in the hot summer and warm in winter. The timber roof is generally supported on the columns. 1 to 2 feet thick layer of soil covers the timber roof. The mud roofing provides an excellent insulation and waterproofing. How did these houses perform in the 1993 earthquake?
More than 30,000 houses in 52 villages were destroyed, killing more than 8,000 villagers. People got buried alive under the debris of collapsed walls.
Walls collapsed not because they were built with stones and mud, but because there were lots of round stones, but no through stones and no interlocking of stones.
In many cases, because of shaking, the outside or the inside face separated and collapsed.
Since all 4 walls are not built simultaneously, the walls separated from each other at the corners, resulting into cracks. Diagonal cracks developed at the corners of windows and doors. Tall and long walls, being more vulnerable, collapsed easily. Buildings made of stone with cement mortar and reinforced concrete slab also did not survive.
But many roofs supported on columns stood up in spite of a heavy mud layer on top.
How were these houses rebuilt?
Houses were rebuilt using modern technologies, materials and equipment. Stone was totally discarded. To make them earthquake safe, a lot of cement and steel were used.
Dome houses with 3-inch thick concrete walls were built without taking into account the people's lifestyle and the local climate. The villages lost their identity and began to look like industrial townships. But people were afraid to sleep in the new houses, so they built tin sheds to sleep in. The houses had no vent for the kitchen smoke to escape through, so kitchen sheds were also built. It was impossible to put a nail in concrete walls, so people could not hang things on the walls. Instead, they had to put everything on the floor. Many houses did not suit people's lifestyle, so many people found them inconvenient. People did not understand new technologies and hence had no confidence in them. But what did people do on their own?
In new villages, people began to build additional rooms reusing the materials salvaged from their old houses.
And they used the same old technology that killed so many people in the earthquake. Instead of building all walls at the same time, they kept on building them one at a time. In less damaged villages, the people abandoned their comfortable and undamaged houses out of fear and started living in tin sheds.
People sold timber from their old houses at a tenth of the market price since they saw no safety in their traditional houses.
Do people really have to live in tin sheds for safety? Why can't people build earthquake-resistant houses using stone, mud and timber?
It is of course possible to build earthquake-safe houses from local materials. But earthquake safety features must be used while building them.
Through stones must be used to connect the outer face of the wall with the inner face. All walls must be built at the same time. To strengthen walls against cracking, reinforced concrete band must be built at different levels.
Bands in this earthquake-safe house are at the window level, the door level and the roof level. This earthquake-safe house looks no different from the other houses in the village. It is affordable by many because cement and steel are used only in the bands.
Building with local materials is affordable because it costs less to transport, and it is easy because local masons and carpenters can do it. Modern techniques require special masons and materials for construction and future maintenance. These are not available in villages. Why can't we make our existing houses safer to live in?
It is not possible to demolish and rebuild existing houses like this one. But they can be made safer by retrofitting. Many houses have been retrofitted in Latur.
It is important to prevent delamination of stone walls. For this, concrete bond elements were installed in walls. To prevent separation of walls at the corners and cracking, reinforced concrete band was installed just below the roof. Diagonal bracing made of 6-inch wide timber planks were installed under timber roof. In case of timber roof resting on timber frames, knee braces were installed. But how do the buildings made with modern technology perform in an earthquake?
In a moderate earthquake in 1997 in Jabalpur, a large number of buildings got damaged. A lot of damage was caused due to the ignorance of the people and the building artisans. The buildings constructed with cement and bricks were badly cracked. In many buildings, the walls collapsed. The reinforced concrete slab supported on the walls nearly collapsed.
In some cases, the faulty construction resulted into the collapse of reinforced concrete roofs. Even the reinforced concrete frame structures also suffered severe damage.
All this shows that the reinforced concrete structures also can collapse in an earthquake.
To prevent such damage, it is possible to strengthen the existing buildings.
In California state of the United States of America, much work has been done on this. Multi-storied buildings made of steel and concrete have also been retrofitted when found inadequately strong for a future earthquake.
The government has made it compulsory to retrofit all public buildings made of bricks masonry. The city of Los Angeles has 8,000 such buildings, big and small. Many of these buildings are more than 60 years old. In retrofitting, the connection between the roof and walls is strengthened. The freestanding parapet walls are supported with steel channels so that they would not crack and collapse by shaking.
Steel is used to strengthen the walls so that they would not crack. Diagonal tying is done at the roof level with the help of steel tie rods.
This type of retrofitting is complicated and requires special equipment and skills. Houses in Uttarakhand made from traditional materials are easy and cheap to retrofit. Install reinforced concrete stitching elements in stone walls to prevent bulging and delamination.
To do this, make through holes, one in every 8 or 10 square feet of the wall by carefully removing stones. Place an 8mm rod through it. The rod must have hooked ends. Fill up the hole with cement concrete so that the bar gets fully embedded in concrete. Finish as desired.
Install ferro-cement belt around the house with all types of walls at the level just below the first floor, just below the roof, and on gable walls to prevent cracking and separation at corners.
To do this, install a 13 or 14 gauge welded wire mesh on the wall with nails and reinforced concrete shear connectors. Cover the welded wire mesh with cement sand plaster to make an 8-inch wide and 1¼ inch thick belt. Similar belts must also be installed on houses with a reinforced concrete roof.
Install 12 mm vertical bar in all corners of a house to further strengthen the house.
A vertical bar must be tied to walls with reinforced concrete shear connectors. The top end of the bar must be connected to the reinforcement in the RCC roof. The vertical bar must be fully encased in cement concrete.
Install in plain diagonal ties to strengthen timber roof. To do this, first install 2 timber planks to hold all purlins together.
Next, tie 6 3 mm galvanized wires at one end of one of the planks. Stretch the wires to the other end of the opposite plank.
Hold top of the triangular gable walls with 6 3 mm wires stretched diagonally from one wall to the opposite wall to prevent shaking and collapsing of gable walls. Install diagonal bracing under timber floor to strengthen it. Retrofitting definitely increases the strength of an existing house to withstand an earthquake or a cyclone. While constructing a new house, all earthquake safety features must be used to minimize the damage. Install a through stone, one in every 8 to 10 square feet of the wall. Install reinforced concrete band on all walls at roof level. All floors must have reinforced concrete band just below the timber floor. All types of walls must have 12 mm vertical rods in the corners covered with cement concrete. Installing such vertical rods adjacent to door openings can increase the strength of the wall. Slate, galvanized iron sheet or clay tile roof must have in plain diagonal ties. This is an earthquake-resistant house with all important safety features. It looks like all other buildings. To gain confidence in these techniques, seeing is believing is the right approach.
2 houses of stone, mud and timber were built the way people build in the Latur area on a platform placed on wheels. One of them was subsequently retrofitted.
Houses were shaken with tractor to artificially create earthquake. The house that was retrofitted remained standing while the other house collapsed.
2 more houses were built with bricks. One was built the way people do with cement mortar, and the other was built with earthquake-resisting features like the RCC band. It was made with mud mortar.
Upon shaking the house built in mud mortar having earthquake-resisting features remained standing, while the other house built in cement mortar collapsed.
2 more houses were built. One was built with bricks the way people do in Latur. The other was built with stone with earthquake-resisting technology.
Upon shaking the house with earthquake-resisting technology stood up, while the other collapsed. Retrofit your existing houses and sleep peacefully. Build earthquake-resistant houses with technology that you can afford. The safety of your house and your family is in your hands. Do not wait for others. Use this knowledge and move towards a safer life.